Dear colleagues, the candidate is ready, so I suggest we start our work. Good day, dear colleagues, dear candidate, and everyone who is watching us online. Today, on the 28th of March 2026, the advisory group of experts has gathered in full composition to conduct an interview with the candidate for the position of a judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine, Tsymbalistyi Taras Olehovich. In particular, all 6 members of the AG are present: AG Secretary Marina O'Connor, AG members Hanna Sukhotska, Aleš Zalar, Yaroslav Romaniuk, and Vasil Shakun, and me, Chair of the AG, Oksana Vasilchenko. Also present during the interview are deputy members of the AG, Marek Zubik, Richard Barrett, Volodymyr Kuzmenko, and Vitaly Makinchuk. I would like to know that we are working in a shelter, so in case of an air raid alert, the interviews will continue without interruption. I would also like to remind you that the interview is being recorded and will be broadcast live on the AG's resources and the CCU website. Therefore, I would like to draw the attention of the AG members and the candidate to restrict the use of sensitive data and restricted information during the live broadcast. If it is necessary to discuss such issues, the AG will limit the broadcast for this time. We are ready to begin, so I'll now hand the floor over to AG Secretary Marina O'Connor to briefly introduce the candidate and remind us of the interview process. Over to you, dear Marine.
Thank you, dear colleagues, and everyone who is watching. I would like to remind you that the interview is part of the assessment stage of the candidate to determine whether they meet the criterion of high moral character. And now we have before us the candidate Taras Tsymbalistyi. I will briefly introduce him. He is a prosecutor of the Department of Representation of the State in the Supreme Court on claims of Regional Prosecutor's Office in the 2nd Directorate of the Department of Representation of the State in Court of the Prosecutor General's Office. In 1999, he received his PhD in law, and in 2002, he was awarded the academic title of Associate Professor. In 2008, he was admitted to the bar. From 2008 to 2015, he combined research and teaching with advocacy and has published over 90 scientific papers. In addition, he has already twice participated in the competition for the positions of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine judge and was interviewed twice by the advisory group of experts on March 7, 2024 and January 16, 2025. And in both cases was found to meet the criterion of high moral qualities. Mr. Tsymbalistyi, would you like to add anything to what I have just said about you by way of introduction?
Thank you. Nothing to add. All good. I'd like to remind again that Mr. Taras Tsymbalistyi has participated in the competition twice, and it's his third participation. But even within this competition, the AG has thoroughly examined the materials regarding Mr. Tsymbalistyi, asked some questions in written rounds regarding some circumstances after January 2025, and the candidate has provided written explanations. Therefore, we can say that for now there are no questions and no circumstances that had not been explained by the candidate in his written and oral answers. So, Mr. Tsymbalistyi, you can make a short closing statement up to 5 minutes. What you would like to tell maybe to the AG or the public, please. Thank you, dear members of the AG. First and foremost, I'd like to tell you of the high mission you carry out as to forming the composition of the CCU according to the new rules and regulations, and for 3 years you have been shortlisting the most dignified candidates for the appointing authorities, and I'm sure that this work of yours creates conditions to strengthen the rule of law in Ukraine and to strengthen the ideals of fairness. Thank you for that. I thank you and the Secretariat of the AG for constructive communication within this competition, and I hope to continue it because I believe that I am in line with the criteria of high moral qualities for the judge of the CCU. I wish you all the best and successful completion of the competition procedures. Thank you so much, dear Mr. Taras. I hereby declare the interview with Tsymbalistyi Taras Olehovich, candidate justice of the CCU, closed.